One pool scene, one slow-motion walk, and Phoebe Cates became a name you'd never forget. And for every guy who grew up in the 80s, she wasn't just a crush, she was the crush. Here's why she still holds a place in our hearts decades later. Early life and unassuming beginnings. Phoebe Belle Cates was born on July 16, 1963 in New York City. Creativity ran in her family. Her father, Joseph Cates, was a trailblazer in Broadway and TV production, and her uncle, Gilbert Cates, made his mark as a film director. Growing up in this environment, Phoebe was surrounded by stories of the entertainment world. But acting wasn't her first dream. As a child, Phoebe wanted to be a ballet dancer. She trained tirelessly at the prestigious School of American Ballet, focusing on a future filled with pirouettes and performances. Ballet required discipline, and Phoebe had plenty of it. She spent hours perfecting her craft, determined to make it as a professional. At 14, everything changed. A sudden knee injury ended her ballet aspirations. It was a devastating blow for someone who had invested so much into her dream. Phoebe later described it as a defining moment, forcing her to rethink what her future might hold. Instead of giving up, she adapted. While attending the professional children's school, her striking beauty caught the attention of modeling scouts. By 15, she was balancing high school with a budding career in fashion. Her entry into modeling wasn't planned, but it quickly became her new focus. Phoebe's rise in the modeling world was swift. She appeared on the covers of 17 and Elle, becoming a favorite among photographers and agencies. She had a unique quality that set her apart. She could embody any persona effortlessly, from approachable teen to high-fashion muse. Despite her success, Phoebe wasn't enamored with modeling. She once called it boring, downplaying the glamour most people saw in it. For her, standing in front of a camera lacked the excitement and challenge she craved. The accidental model. She didn't plan to become a model. It wasn't her dream or even on her radar. A family friend casually suggested she try a photo shoot at 15, and she reluctantly went along with it. That single session turned everything upside down. The camera adored her. Agencies immediately took notice. By the end of that day, her future in modeling seemed inevitable, whether she wanted it or not. In the late 1970s, the fashion world craved fresh faces with a natural, unforced beauty, and Phoebe fit the bill perfectly. Her look was exactly what magazines like 17 and Elle wanted. Within a few years, she became a regular on their covers. Her face wasn't just in magazines, though, it was everywhere. Major ad campaigns and glossy billboards soon followed, making her a standout name in an incredibly competitive industry. But modeling wasn't always as glamorous as it looked. Behind the polished photos were early mornings, exhausting shoots, and a packed schedule that would make most adults crumble, let alone a teenager. Phoebe somehow managed to juggle her professional commitments with her studies at the professional children's school. It wasn't easy, but she handled it with a level of grace and determination that set her apart. Industry insiders couldn't stop praising her. One photographer even called her the kind of face you never get tired of shooting. What really made her special, though, was her ability to adapt. One day, she could channel high-fashion elegance, and the next, she'd be the approachable girl next door. That versatility didn't just keep her busy, it kept people talking. Her transition to acting started just as unexpectedly as her modeling career. An agent saw potential and encouraged her to take a chance on Hollywood. Phoebe wasn't exactly eager, admitting later, "I didn't think I'd be good at it." But acting classes revealed a talent she hadn't explored before: breaking into film. She made her film debut in 1982 with Paradise, a coming-of-age drama set in a remote desert oasis. Starring alongside Willie Ames, she played Sarah, a young woman navigating survival and first love in an unfamiliar, untamed environment. The story leaned heavily into themes of self-discovery and resilience, drawing comparisons to the Blue Lagoon. In fact, the film's marketing made no effort to hide the parallels, presenting Paradise as a spiritual successor to the earlier hit. The film's reception was mixed. While its exotic visuals captured attention, critics found the storyline lacking originality. Despite these critiques, Phoebe's performance stood out. Her ability to convey Sarah's vulnerability and inner strength earned praise, with reviewers noting her natural presence on screen. For someone new to acting, it was an impressive debut. She brought a quiet authenticity to a role that required emotional depth, even if the film itself didn't fully showcase her potential. Filming Paradise wasn't without its difficulties. The production took place in isolated locations, often under harsh conditions. Long days in extreme heat pushed the cast and crew to their limits. Phoebe, however, handled the challenges with grace. She proved herself to be not just a performer but a professional, willing to go the extra mile to deliver a convincing portrayal. While Paradise wasn't a major hit, it found moderate success internationally. Audiences in certain markets appreciated its lush cinematography and romantic undertones. More importantly, it put Phoebe on Hollywood's radar. Casting directors recognized her potential, seeing beyond the flaws of the film itself. Looking back, she described Paradise as a significant learning experience. It wasn't just about the role, it was about stepping out of her comfort zone and adapting to the demands of a high-pressure set. The film gave her the confidence to tackle more complex roles, setting the stage for her breakout performance in Fast Times at Ridgemont High later that year. Fast Times and instant stardom. If Paradise gave her a taste of Hollywood, Fast Times at Ridgemont High made Phoebe Cates unforgettable. Released in August 1982, this teen comedy became a cultural touchstone, packed with a cast that would define the decade: Sean Penn, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and Judge Reinhold, to name a few. But among the ensemble, Phoebe's Linda Barrett stood out, stealing scenes and hearts. Linda wasn't your typical high school character. She had confidence, wit, and a magnetic maturity that made her feel real. Whether she was giving no-nonsense dating advice to Stacy, Lee, or casually owning every room she entered, Linda was a character you couldn't ignore. Phoebe gave her depth, balancing charm and sincerity in every line. Fans didn't just see Linda as the hot girl, they saw her as someone you'd want to hang out with. Then came the pool scene. Set to the cars moving in stereo, it was a moment that burned itself into cinematic history. Linda's slow-motion walk out of the pool was more than just a visual spectacle. It was a statement of self-assuredness that resonated with audiences. Sure, it was striking, but it was also effortless. That mix of confidence and charisma turned the scene into a pop culture phenomenon, referenced everywhere from Family Guy to Stranger Things. The film was a massive success, and Phoebe became an overnight sensation. Her face was suddenly on every magazine cover, and fans couldn't get enough. Critics called her performance magnetic, with one review describing her as having a natural star quality that's impossible to ignore. Yet, Phoebe herself stayed grounded. In interviews, she played down the hype, saying, "I don't see myself as a sex symbol. I'm just playing a part," expanding her range. After Fast Times at Ridgemont High catapulted Phoebe to fame, she was determined to avoid being typecast. Hollywood had no shortage of offers, but she wasn't about to settle for playing the same role over and over. She turned down projects that leaned too heavily on her image as the girl in the bikini. Instead, she sought roles that would show her versatility and prove there was more to her than Linda Barrett. In 1983, she starred in Private School, a light-hearted comedy about mischief and romance at a boarding school. The movie didn't rake in awards or break box office records, but it gave Phoebe a chance to show off her comedic timing. Critics may have had mixed feelings about the film, but they were clear on one thing: Phoebe was its brightest star. Her delivery was sharp, her presence undeniable, and she brought an extra layer to a role that could have been forgettable. Then came Gremlins in 1984, a career-defining move into a completely different genre. As Kate Barringer, Phoebe played the level-headed, resourceful girlfriend who helped the protagonist navigate a town overrun by mischievous monsters. Her performance stood out in a film that was equal parts scary and hilarious. One scene in particular, the infamous "Why I Hate Christmas" monologue, showed her ability to balance dark humor with genuine emotion. It was unexpected and unforgettable. Gremlins became a massive success, earning over $150 million globally and becoming one of the most iconic films of the decade. It proved Phoebe could thrive in big-budget, high-concept projects while bringing warmth and authenticity to the screen. Audiences loved her, and the industry took note. By the mid-1980s, Phoebe had positioned herself as more than just a teen icon. She had range, something not every young actor achieves so early. From light comedy to creature-filled chaos, she showed she could handle anything. These smart career moves solidified her status as a multifaceted star and set the stage for her enduring appeal. Even after stepping away from Hollywood, these roles remained a testament to her talent, balancing fame and privacy. Phoebe Cates stood out in the 1980s for her refusal to play by Hollywood's rules. While many stars of her era dove headfirst into the glitzy party scene and endless self-promotion, she kept her feet firmly on the ground. Fame didn't define her. It was just part of her job. In interviews, Phoebe was refreshingly candid about her indifference to celebrity culture. "I never wanted to live in that Hollywood bubble," she once said, summing up her attitude perfectly. She skipped the schmoozing and late-night clubbing, opting instead for quiet evenings with close friends or family. It wasn't about making a statement. It was simply who she was. After Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Gremlins, many expected Phoebe to become a staple of red carpets and magazine covers. She didn't. She rarely attended premieres or sought out the spotlight. When she did make public appearances, it was always on her own terms. No theatrics, no over-the-top outfits, just a calm, composed presence that set her apart. Her choice to keep her personal life private wasn't just a quirk, it added to her mystique. Fans were endlessly curious about the person behind the screen. At a time when tabloids thrived on exposing every detail of a star's life, Phoebe gave them nothing to work with. She didn't need to share her every move to stay relevant. Her aura of mystery did all the work. This same selective approach extended to her career. While offers flooded in, Phoebe turned down roles that didn't feel right. She wasn't interested in being typecast or taking on projects just to stay in the public eye. Her focus was always on quality over quantity. Industry insiders admired her restraint, though it confused some who couldn't understand why she wasn't cashing in on her fame. In an era of overexposure, Phoebe's measured approach was revolutionary. Her ability to balance a thriving career with a grounded personal life proved that restraint could be a superpower in Hollywood, a love story for the ages. Phoebe's personal life took an unexpected and intriguing turn in 1983 when she met actor Kevin Kline. Their first meeting wasn't at a glamorous event, but during auditions for The Big Chill. Although Phoebe didn't land a role, the encounter turned out to be far more impactful than any acting gig. It marked the start of a lifelong partnership. Kevin, already a respected name in Hollywood, was known for his thoughtfulness and intellectual approach to acting. At 16 years her senior, the age gap raised some eyebrows, but it didn't faze them. Phoebe was drawn to his depth and steady demeanor, while Kevin admired her maturity and effortless charm. Their connection felt natural, and what started as a spark quickly grew into something serious. By 1989, they were married in a private ceremony attended by close friends and family. True to their personalities, it was intimate and understated, far removed from the glitz and spectacle of Hollywood. For Phoebe, the wedding wasn't just about tying the knot with Kevin, it was a defining moment that shaped the next phase of her life. Fans couldn't get enough of their dynamic. Kevin often credited Phoebe for grounding him in an industry notorious for its unpredictability. In one interview, he described her as "my anchor," a simple yet powerful statement of their bond. Their marriage stood out in Hollywood, where relationships often seem to crumble under the weight of fame. Their family life deepened their connection even further. With the arrival of their children, Owen and Greta, Phoebe made a bold choice. At the height of her career, she decided to step back from acting to focus on raising them. In her own words, raising them was more important than making movies. The decision wasn't without surprise, but it earned her immense respect. In an industry that often prioritized ambition over everything, Phoebe's choice felt refreshing. She embodied balance, proving that it was possible to prioritize love and family while still leaving an indelible mark on Hollywood. Her relationship with Kevin wasn't just a personal milestone, it became part of what made her so admired by fans. Retreat from Hollywood. There were no dramatic announcements or farewell tours. She didn't explain her decision, nor did she stage a big exit. She simply stopped appearing on screen, letting her actions speak for themselves. For someone as celebrated as Phoebe, it was an unusual move, and that's exactly what made it fascinating. Her final film role came in 2001's The Anniversary Party, a small indie project co-directed by her close friend Jennifer Jason Leigh. Phoebe agreed to join the ensemble as a favor, not because she was angling for a comeback. Even with minimal screen time, her presence was striking. She delivered a performance that reminded audiences why she had been so magnetic in her earlier roles. What made her retreat so intriguing was its lack of drama. In an industry where stars often overshare their personal struggles or orchestrate public returns, Phoebe stayed silent. There were no interviews dissecting her choices, no promises of a future project if the right one came along. It wasn't about scandal or burnout. She simply chose a different path. Her decision left fans guessing. Why would someone who had achieved so much just step away? Theories ranged from wanting to raise her children to disillusionment with Hollywood. But Phoebe never clarified. Her silence became part of her allure, making her one of the few stars who could fade away while remaining unforgettable. Even after her departure, her influence endured. Films like Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Gremlins continued to gain new fans, especially as nostalgia for the 1980s surged in the 2000s. Clips from her iconic roles flooded social media and forums, introducing her to younger generations. Her graceful exit was rare in a world obsessed with fame. By stepping away, she left people wanting more while preserving the mystique that made her special. It's a move that few could pull off, but Phoebe did it effortlessly, securing her place as one of Hollywood's most enigmatic figures. Lesser-known projects. Phoebe Cates might have stepped away from the spotlight, but she never disappeared entirely. Every now and then, she re-emerged, giving fans a rare glimpse of her life post-Hollywood. These moments, though brief, added depth to her story and showed how she quietly stayed connected to the creative world. One of her most notable returns was her voice acting in LEGO Dimensions, 2015. In the game, she reprised her Gremlins role as Kate Barringer. Fans of the classic film were thrilled to hear her voice after years of silence. It was a small project, but it reminded everyone of the warmth she brought to her characters. Beyond entertainment, Phoebe also ventured into business. In the early 2000s, she opened a boutique in Manhattan's Upper East Side called Blue Tree. The shop reflected her eclectic taste, offering everything from clothing and jewelry to unique gifts. Running the boutique allowed her to express her creativity without the demands of the film industry. Locals loved the personal touch she brought to the store, and fans admired her for pursuing something so down-to-earth. Phoebe also occasionally appeared at events with her husband, Kevin Kline. Whether it was a red carpet for one of his films or an industry gala, her presence always sparked excitement. She kept it low-key, though, often opting for understated elegance over showy fashion. These appearances reminded everyone of her effortless grace, even years after leaving the screen. While she avoided the traditional celebrity spotlight, Phoebe supported causes close to her heart. She contributed to charity events and lent her name to philanthropic efforts, though she rarely publicized these activities. It was another way she stayed true to her private, humble nature. Phoebe's occasional returns kept her fans intrigued. Each appearance or project felt special, a reminder of the star they admired while showcasing new sides of her personality. She didn't need a constant presence to remain unforgettable. She just knew how to make the moments count. The cult icon effect. Over time, she became a cult icon, capturing the nostalgia of fans from the 1980s and early 1990s. Her name sparked endless discussions, proving that her impact extended far beyond her short time in Hollywood. Fan conventions buzzed with panels dissecting Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Gremlins. Attendees debated her best scenes, from Linda Barrett's poolside confidence to Kate's emotional Christmas monologue. Online forums became hotspots for die-hard fans to swap rare facts, while YouTube retrospectives analyzed her influence on pop culture. The infamous pool scene in Fast Times refused to fade from memory. It became a symbol of the carefree and bold spirit of the 1980s. Modern TV shows, music videos, and memes referenced it endlessly, not just as nostalgia, but as a defining moment of the era. Somehow, it felt fresh each time, proving Phoebe's magic went beyond a single scene. Fans loved how she brought authenticity and depth to every role. Even in lighthearted comedies, she made her characters relatable and layered. Whether she played tender, funny, or vulnerable moments, she nailed them all. This skill gave her films a lasting quality that resonated with both old fans and new viewers discovering her work. Her influence didn't stop at acting. Fashion bloggers often highlighted her effortless style, from her red bikini in Fast Times to her casual looks in Gremlins. Younger audiences found inspiration in her wardrobe, sparking a resurgence of 80s fashion trends. Streaming services made her movies accessible to new generations, who saw her as both a style icon and a talented performer. Social media amplified her resurgence. Viral clips of her most iconic moments brought her back into the spotlight. Tribute accounts dedicated to her work shared rare photos and anecdotes, keeping her spirit alive. Phoebe's timeless appeal bridged generations, proving that real icons don't fade, they just evolve. Even decades after stepping away, her influence remained undeniable. How does a small-town girl from Georgia become the face of Hollywood's most seductive era? Kim Basinger didn't just captivate audiences, she redefined what it meant to be irresistible. Let's explore why she became every man's dream. Early years and model stardom. Camila Ann Basinger, born December 8, 1953, in Athens, Georgia, grew up in a creative household. Her father, Donald Wade Basinger, was a big band musician and loan manager, while her mother, Ann, had once been a model and competitive swimmer. With this artistic lineage, it seemed only natural that Kim would eventually shine. Yet, in her early years, her reserved nature suggested a different story. As a child in her small southern town, Kim was intensely shy and often retreated into her artistic passions. Drawing, playing music, and dancing became her safe havens. Ballet, in particular, captured her heart. For a while, she even dreamed of becoming a professional dancer. These creative outlets gave her a way to navigate her insecurities, especially as her striking looks began to draw attention in her teens. At 17, Kim's life shifted when she won the Junior Miss pageant in her hometown. This wasn't just a crown and sash moment, it opened doors. The win introduced her to the modeling world, where her tall, statuesque figure and natural grace stood out. But Kim wasn't content with simply being labeled a beauty queen. Her ambitions were bigger. After high school, she briefly enrolled at the University of Georgia, but academic life felt uninspiring. Her mother, with her own modeling background, encouraged Kim to aim higher. Taking that advice, Kim packed her bags and moved to New York City. She signed with Ford Modeling Agency, a top-tier agency, and began her climb toward stardom. In the 1970s, Kim's face became a fixture in magazines and advertising campaigns. She was a natural, quickly becoming a standout in the cutthroat modeling industry. Still, she never saw modeling as her end game. It gave her confidence but wasn't her passion. Hollywood soon noticed. Her growing fame caught the eye of talent scouts, setting her on a course that would lead to acting stardom. Even before her headline-grabbing Playboy feature in 1983, Kim was already making waves. Modeling had given her a platform. Hollywood would let her soar, from runway to reel. Kim's modeling career eventually brought her to Los Angeles, where she aimed to break into acting. Balancing auditions with her modeling gigs, she worked tirelessly to make the transition. By the late 1970s, her persistence began to pay off. She snagged guest spots on popular TV shows, proving she wasn't just a pretty face. She was determined to succeed. One of her first roles came in Gemini Man, 1976, a short-lived sci-fi series. While the show didn't last, it gave Kim valuable on-camera experience. This led to appearances on other iconic series like Charlie's Angels and Macmillan and Wife. Though her parts were small, they gave her room to explore different characters and genres. Kim wasn't coasting on her looks, she was building her resume and learning the ropes. In 1977, Kim got her first major break with a recurring role in Dog and Cat. The gritty cop drama paired her with Lou Antonio and cast her as Officer J.Z. Kane, a tough yet relatable character. The show only lasted 6 episodes, but it marked a turning point. Critics started noticing her ability to balance strength and vulnerability on screen. For Kim, it was proof that she could hold her own as an actor, not just a model trying to act. Determined to grow, Kim enrolled in acting classes. She knew raw talent wasn't enough and approached the craft with discipline and focus. While juggling small roles and auditions, she dedicated herself to developing the skills she'd need to succeed in Hollywood. By the end of the decade, her efforts were paying off. Industry insiders began to see her as more than a model dabbling in acting. Her versatility and charisma caught attention, and she started gaining traction. Each role, no matter how small, added to her momentum, stepping into stardom. Kim's big screen journey kicked off with Hard Country, 1981. She played Jody, a small-town woman longing for more than her blue-collar life could offer. It was a shift from the glamorous roles people might have expected, showing Kim's willingness to dig deeper. Jody's story resonated with viewers, and Kim brought a quiet intensity to the role that critics couldn't ignore. The film didn't rake in massive box office numbers, but it gave Kim something more valuable: credibility. Critics praised her performance for its mix of vulnerability and grit. This wasn't just another acting credit, it was a declaration. Kim wasn't just there to look pretty, she was there to act. Her portrayal hinted at a depth that set her apart from Hollywood's fresh faces. Next came Mother Lode, 1982, an adventure flick with Charlton Heston. Kim played Andrea Spaulding, a gutsy woman tangled in a dangerous gold hunt. The rugged Canadian wilderness provided the backdrop, but Kim's determination was the real standout. While the film didn't win over mainstream audiences, it was a crucial step in Kim's journey. Sharing the screen with Heston was no small feat, and she held her own, proving she could thrive in demanding roles. By now, casting directors were noticing. Kim had a knack for making her characters relatable. Jody's quiet ambitions and Andrea's toughness weren't just lines in a script, they felt real. Kim was carving a space as an actress who brought authenticity to her roles, not just glamour. The early 1980s became a training ground for Kim. Each project added to her momentum. She wasn't chasing instant fame, she was building something lasting. The combination of her on-screen presence and willingness to tackle challenging parts set her apart. These early roles weren't blockbusters, but they were stepping stones. Kim was establishing herself as more than just a model with acting aspirations. She was becoming a force to be reckoned with. It was only a matter of time before Hollywood took notice in a big way. A bonded breakthrough. Kim's career hit a major milestone in 1983 with Never Say Never Again. This wasn't just another James Bond movie. It was Sean Connery's return to the franchise after more than a decade. For Kim, the high-profile project was the perfect stage to showcase her talent to the world. In the film, Kim played Domino Petacci, a character caught in a web of intrigue and betrayal. Domino wasn't your typical Bond girl. She had layers. Resilient, intelligent, and emotionally driven, she stood out in a franchise often defined by surface-level portrayals of women. Kim brought the character to life with a mix of elegance and depth, proving she was more than just a pretty face. Sharing the screen with Connery was no easy feat. As one of cinema's most iconic Bonds, his presence was larger than life. Yet Kim matched his energy, creating undeniable chemistry that elevated their on-screen dynamic. Their scenes weren't just about glamour and action, they carried tension, emotion, and weight. Critics took notice. praising Kim for her ability to hold her own opposite such a towering figure. The film became a commercial hit, raking in over $160 million worldwide. For Kim, this wasn't just another role, it was a game changer. Audiences everywhere were captivated by her performance, and her portrayal of Domino became one of the franchise's most memorable. She wasn't just a Bond girl, she was the Bond woman of her era. This success marked a turning point in Kim's career. She was no longer just a model-turned-actress or a rising star with potential. Never Say Never Again cemented her as a leading lady, capable of carrying big-budget films alongside industry legends. The film's global impact opened doors to new opportunities. Directors saw her as more than a supporting player. They saw a star. Kim had proven she could handle the spotlight, and the projects that followed would solidify her status as one of the most sought-after actresses of the 1980s. A bold move with 9.5 weeks. If Never Say Never Again made Kim a star, 9.5 weeks, 1986, turned her into a sensation. Directed by Adrian Lyne, the film dove deep into the intense, unpredictable relationship between Kim's Elizabeth and Mickey Rourke's enigmatic John. It wasn't your typical love story. It was raw, emotional, and unapologetically provocative. The movie made waves for its steamy and boundary-pushing scenes. Some critics found it exploitative, while others praised it as an honest look at desire and power dynamics. But audiences couldn't look away. The chemistry between Kim and Rourke was electric, and Kim's performance anchored the story. As Elizabeth, she was vulnerable yet strong, making a character in such a tumultuous relationship feel painfully real. Kim didn't hold back. Her portrayal of Elizabeth was fearless, bringing authenticity to the highs and lows of the character's emotional journey. She showed a depth that went beyond the surface, balancing the sensuality of the role with genuine heartbreak. This wasn't just about being daring, it was about being truthful. The film wasn't an easy project to take on. Its themes and explicit content were risky for any actor, let alone one transitioning into leading roles. But Kim wasn't interested in playing it safe. She embraced the complexity of the role, proving she was willing to push boundaries for her craft. 9.5 weeks wasn't just a movie, it became a cultural touchstone. It was controversial, yes, but it was also a box office hit and gained a cult following over time. The film cemented its place as a defining piece of 1980s cinema, and Kim's performance became iconic. For Kim, this was a career-defining moment. It proved she could carry a film that challenged societal norms and sparked conversations. Her willingness to take risks, both emotionally and professionally, set her apart from the crowd. 9.5 weeks didn't just solidify her as a star, it showed the world she was fearless, versatile, and unforgettable. The glamour of Batman. By 1989, Kim Basinger was already a Hollywood star, but Batman took her career to the next level. Directed by Tim Burton, the film redefined the superhero genre with its dark, gothic style. As Vicky Vale, a photojournalist and Bruce Wayne's love interest, Kim brought old-school Hollywood charm to this brooding, action-packed blockbuster. Her casting wasn't planned. Sean Young was originally set to play Vicky but had to drop out after a horseback riding accident. Producers scrambled, and Kim stepped in at the last minute. Despite the sudden change, she slid into the role effortlessly. Her portrayal blended intelligence, elegance, and a quiet sensuality that complemented Michael Keaton's introspective Bruce Wayne. Their chemistry gave the film a romantic core amid all the chaos, adding depth to the story. Batman was a game changer. It grossed over $400 million worldwide, becoming one of the highest-earning films of its time. While much of the spotlight went to Tim Burton's direction and Jack Nicholson's legendary Joker, Kim's performance didn't go unnoticed. Her Vicky Vale wasn't just another damsel in distress. She was confident, resourceful, and quick on her feet, a character who held her own in Gotham's dark and dangerous world. Male fans were particularly drawn to her balance of wit and allure. Vicky was intelligent and capable, but she also exuded the kind of glamour that made Kim unforgettable on screen. She became a standout in a film packed with big personalities and larger-than-life visuals. Behind the scenes, Kim played a key role in promoting the film. She toured the globe as the face of Batman, charming fans and reporters alike. Whether talking about her work with Burton or discussing Vicky's role in the story, she showcased the charisma that made her such a magnetic star. Diversifying in the 90s. After Batman 1989, Kim Basinger wanted to prove she was more than a blockbuster star. She began the 1990s with The Marrying Man, 1991, playing Vicky Anderson, a glamorous nightclub singer in a whirlwind romance with Alec Baldwin's character. The film mixed comedy and drama, giving Kim the chance to show off her charm and musical talents. While the movie didn't wow critics or audiences, her off-screen romance with Baldwin stole the spotlight. Their highly publicized relationship made them Hollywood's it couple, keeping Kim a regular feature in tabloids. Next came Final Analysis, 1992, a steamy thriller with Richard Gere. Kim played Heather Evans, a seductive and manipulative woman caught in a dangerous love triangle. The role let her explore a darker, more layered character. Critics had mixed feelings about the film, but Kim's performance earned praise. Her ability to balance vulnerability with danger reminded audiences why she excelled in complex roles. That same year, she surprised everyone with Cool World, 1992, an ambitious live-action animated hybrid directed by Ralph Bakshi. Kim took on the role of Holly Wood, a sultry cartoon character determined to become human. The movie's quirky concept and bold style didn't land with viewers, and it flopped at the box office. Still, Kim's choice to embrace such an unconventional role showed her willingness to take risks. These films marked a turning point in Kim's career. She wasn't content to stick with safe roles. Instead, she chose projects that challenged her and defied expectations. Whether playing a femme fatale, a glamorous singer, or even a cartoon, Kim demonstrated her range and fearlessness. Not all the movies were hits, but Kim's presence always stood out. Male fans in particular admired her daring choices and undeniable allure. Her ability to balance glamour with depth kept audiences captivated, even when the scripts didn't. By the mid-1990s, Kim had established herself as an actress unafraid to push boundaries while remaining one of Hollywood's most magnetic stars. Career high with LA Confidential. In 1997, Kim Basinger reached a career milestone with LA Confidential. Directed by Curtis Hanson, the neo-noir thriller showcased her as Lynn Bracken, a high-class escort styled after 1940s star Veronica Lake. The role required a mix of vulnerability, resilience, and quiet strength, and Kim delivered a performance that cemented her place in Hollywood history. The film was both a critical and commercial triumph. Widely regarded as one of the best neo-noir films ever made, it earned 9 Academy Award nominations. Kim's portrayal of Lynn earned her the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. This win wasn't just a career milestone, it silenced critics who had underestimated her talent. The award validated her as a serious actress and placed her among the elite performers of her time. Kim's take on Lynn Bracken was a masterclass in subtlety. Beneath Lynn's polished, glamorous exterior lay a woman hardened by her circumstances, but still longing for connection. Kim brought depth to the role, balancing Lynn's sophistication with an undercurrent of emotional pain. Her performance was understated yet powerful, drawing audiences into every moment. Her chemistry with co-stars Russell Crowe and Guy Pearce elevated the story. In her scenes with Crowe, who played the rough but tender detective Bud White, Kim added a layer of warmth that made their romance believable. Her interactions with Pearce, playing the ambitious detective Ed Exley, highlighted the film's exploration of ambition and corruption. LA Confidential wasn't just a hit, it transformed Kim's career. Audiences and industry insiders began to see her as more than a glamorous star. She was now recognized as a performer with the ability to tackle complex roles with depth and authenticity. For male fans, this new phase of her career only added to her appeal. She combined classic Hollywood beauty with the gravitas of a seasoned actress, proving she could command both the screen and the respect of her peers. LA Confidential marked Kim's evolution into a powerhouse performer, redefining her legacy and securing her place in Hollywood's pantheon. Challenges and resilience. The late 1990s weren't all red carpets and accolades for Kim Basinger. Despite her professional success, this period brought some heavy personal and financial challenges. One of the most publicized setbacks was her legal battle with Mainline Pictures over Boxing Helena, 1993. Kim had agreed to star in the controversial film, but later backed out, citing creative differences. The studio sued for breach of contract and won, with the court awarding over $8 million in damages. The verdict was a blow, forcing Kim to file for bankruptcy in 1993, a humbling moment in an otherwise glamorous career. Her financial troubles weren't her only stress. Kim's high-profile marriage to Alec Baldwin, starting in 1993, became tabloid gold. The couple's passionate but often volatile relationship kept them in the headlines. Their clashes and public spats painted a picture of a union under strain. Despite efforts to make it work, the marriage ended in divorce in 2002, capping nearly a decade of turbulence. Amid all this, Kim made a deliberate choice to step back from the spotlight. She focused on her daughter, Ireland, born in 1995. Motherhood became her priority, and Kim embraced a quieter life away from Hollywood's relentless demands. This decision gave her time to regroup and reflect, even if it meant fewer film roles. While her on-screen presence diminished, Kim's ability to weather these challenges earned her respect. Fans admired her resilience and saw her as more relatable than ever. She wasn't just a star anymore. She was a woman navigating the ups and downs of life with strength and grace. For male fans, Kim's allure only deepened during this time. Her poise amid adversity and her devotion to her family made her even more captivating. She became a symbol of perseverance, proving that even Hollywood icons have their struggles and their comebacks. Impactful return-to-film roles. The 2000s marked Kim Basinger's compelling return to the screen, showcasing her ability to adapt to complex, character-driven roles. In 8 Mile, 2002, she portrayed Stephanie Smith, the emotionally strained mother of Jimmy B. Rabbit Smith Jr., played by Eminem. This gritty drama was a sharp departure from the glamorous roles that had once defined her career. Stephanie was unpolished, grappling with poverty, broken relationships, and personal insecurities. Kim's raw and authentic performance resonated with audiences and critics alike, earning her acclaim for her ability to embody such a vulnerable yet resilient character. Kim's career trajectory in the following years demonstrated her preference for diverse and challenging roles. In The Door in the Floor, 2004, a drama based on John Irving's novel, she starred alongside Jeff Bridges, exploring themes of grief and marital tension. Her nuanced portrayal in this emotionally intense story further highlighted her depth as an actress. In The Nice Guys, 2016, Kim took on the role of Judith Kuttner, a manipulative and enigmatic character tied to a 1970s conspiracy. Despite limited screen time, her commanding presence added sophistication and intrigue to the film's chaotic, darkly comedic narrative. She seamlessly balanced cunning and poise, making a significant impact within the ensemble cast. Kim continued to embrace bold choices in 50 Shades Darker, 2017, playing Elena Lincoln, a key antagonist in the franchise's narrative. Elena's manipulative and morally ambiguous nature required a layered performance, which Kim delivered with precision. Her portrayal injected tension into the story, reminding viewers of her ability to dominate the screen even in ensemble-driven films. In the summer of 1977, the world was abuzz with the release of The Spy Who Loved Me, a James Bond film that introduced a new kind of femme fatale. Amidst the glitz of the premiere, one woman stole the spotlight, not just as a Bond girl, but as a figure shrouded in allure and mystery. She was Barbara Bach, known for her captivating beauty and enigmatic presence. But behind this dazzling facade, there lay hidden chapters and untold stories that defied the typical Hollywood narrative. On the surface, Bach was the epitome of a 70s screen siren, but her journey to this pinnacle was laced with unexpected twists and turns. From her early days in Queens, New York, to the heights of Hollywood fame, her path was anything but ordinary. Rumors and whispers followed her, painting a picture of a life filled with more intrigue and complexity than any of her on-screen roles. As she stood there, basking in the adulation of fans and photographers, few could have guessed the depth of the secrets she harbored. Her marriage to a rock legend, Ringo Star, added to her mystique, making her a fixture in both the cinematic and music worlds. But what was the story behind this glamorous union? What truths lay behind the tabloid headlines and the flashing cameras? From Queens to Queen of the Screen, Barbara Bach's story begins far from the glitz of Hollywood in the diverse borough of Queens, New York. Born Barbara Goldbach on August 27, 1947, to a policeman father and a homemaker mother, her early life was a far cry from the glamour she would later embody. Growing up in a modest, middle-class family, Barbara's childhood was typical of the post-war American experience, marked by a mix of simplicity and the burgeoning dreams of a new generation. From an early age, Barbara showed an inclination towards the arts. Her striking features and natural grace made her stand out, even as a young girl. However, it wasn't just her physical beauty that set her apart. She possessed a quiet determination and a sense of ambition that was rare for women of her time. Barbara attended a local Catholic high school, where she first began to explore the possibility of a career in modeling. It was a decision that would set her on a path to stardom, though not without its challenges. After high school, Barbara's journey into the world of modeling began in earnest. She quickly made a name for herself, gracing the pages of catalogs and magazines. Her unique look, a blend of classic Hollywood glamour and a modern, relatable appeal, caught the eye of many in the industry. By the age of 16, she had already appeared in major publications, a remarkable feat for someone with no formal training or connections in the fashion world. Barbara's transition from modeling to acting was almost serendipitous. Her natural poise in front of the camera and her ability to convey emotion without words caught the attention of film producers. In the early 1970s, she made her foray into the world of cinema, a move that would forever change the trajectory of her life. Her early roles were small, yet significant, allowing her to hone her craft and learn the intricacies of acting. It was during this period that Barbara underwent a transformation, not just professionally, but personally. She married Italian businessman Count Augusto Gregorini in 1968, a union that brought her 2 children and a life that straddled both Europe and America. This marriage, though not lasting, was a crucial chapter in her life, providing her with experiences and perspectives that would shape her both as a person and as an actress. As Barbara's career progressed, her roles became more prominent, setting the stage for her breakthrough as a Bond girl. But her journey from the streets of Queens to the heart of Hollywood was more than just a tale of fame and success. It was a story of resilience, of a young woman navigating the complexities of an industry known for its fickleness and challenges. Barbara Bach's rise to fame was a testament to her talent, determination, and the unwavering belief in her own potential, qualities that would define her career and her life in the years to come. Bond Girl Breakthrough: More Than Meets the Eye. The year 1977 marked a pivotal moment in Barbara Bach's career with her role as Anya Amasova in the James Bond film The Spy Who Loved Me. This role catapulted her into international stardom, but it also showcased her ability to bring depth and strength to a character that could have easily been just another decorative Bond girl. Anya Amasova, also known as Agent XXXX, was not your typical Bond girl. She was a skilled Soviet agent, equal in wit and prowess to James Bond himself. Barbara's portrayal of Anya broke new ground in the Bond franchise. She brought a blend of toughness, intelligence, and sensuality to the role, challenging the traditional perceptions of women in the Bond universe. Her performance was a significant departure from the more decorative roles often assigned to women in previous Bond films, making Anya Amasova a memorable and progressive character for the time. Barbara's preparation for the role was intense. She trained rigorously to perform many of her own stunts, adding authenticity to her character's physicality. Her dedication to the role was evident in the final product, as she seamlessly blended action and allure, creating a Bond girl who was more than just a foil or love interest for the protagonist. The Spy Who Loved Me was a major success, both critically and commercially, and Barbara's performance was a standout. The film's iconic scenes, including the underwater sequences and the memorable car chase, were made all the more captivating by her presence. Her chemistry with Roger Moore, who played James Bond, was palpable, adding a layer of complexity to their on-screen relationship. However, the impact of this role on Barbara's career was double-edged. While it brought her immense fame, it also typecast her in the eyes of many. Finding roles that matched the depth and significance of Anya Amasova proved challenging. The industry's inclination to pigeonhole her into similar roles was a hurdle she had to continually navigate. Despite these challenges, Barbara's role in The Spy Who Loved Me remains a significant part of her legacy. It redefined the Bond girl archetype and paved the way for more nuanced and empowered female characters in the franchise. Barbara Bach's portrayal of Anya Amasova was not just a breakthrough in her career, it was a breakthrough in the portrayal of women in action cinema, a role that resonated with audiences and critics alike and remains a defining moment in her career. Love in the Limelight, the Ringo Star connection. Barbara Bach's life took a romantic turn when she met Ringo Starr, the legendary drummer of the Beatles, during the filming of the movie Caveman in 1980. This encounter sparked a love story that captured the public's imagination and has endured for decades, becoming one of the entertainment industry's most enduring relationships. Their connection was instant and profound, despite coming from vastly different backgrounds. Ringo, a world-famous musician from Liverpool, and Barbara, a rising Hollywood star with a modeling background, they found common ground in their shared experiences in the limelight and the pressures that came with fame. Their romance blossomed amidst the backdrop of the film's production, a prehistoric comedy that saw them both stepping out of their comfort zones. The public was fascinated by this pairing. Ringo Starr, already a household name as part of the world's most famous band, and Barbara Bach, the glamorous Bond girl, made for a compelling duo. Their relationship was followed closely by the media, which often portrayed them as a quintessential celebrity couple, living a life of luxury and excess. However, the reality of their relationship was far more complex and grounded. Barbara and Ringo's bond was tested and strengthened by their individual and shared struggles. Both had faced the challenges of fame and the personal issues that often accompany a life in the public eye. They supported each other through these trials, including Ringo's well-documented battle with alcoholism. Barbara played a significant role in his recovery, and together they embarked on a journey of sobriety that further solidified their relationship. Their marriage in 1981 was a testament to their deep connection. It was not just a union of two celebrities, but a partnership based on mutual respect, understanding, and love. They navigated the ups and downs of life together, maintaining a strong bond that has lasted for over 4 decades. Barbara's relationship with Ringo Starr added a new dimension to her public persona. She became known not just for her work in film and modeling, but also as part of a celebrity couple that has stood the test of time. Their relationship has been a source of fascination and admiration, a rare Hollywood love story that has endured far beyond the usual lifespan of celebrity romances. The story of Barbara Bach and Ringo Starr is more than just a tale of celebrity romance. It is a narrative of resilience, support, and enduring love, a reminder that even in the unpredictable world of fame, genuine connections and lasting relationships are possible. Their journey together continues to captivate and inspire, a testament to the power of love in the face of the ever-changing tides of fame and fortune. The mystery of the missing screen siren. After her rise to fame and her high-profile marriage, Barbara Bach's presence in the Hollywood scene began to wane, leading many to wonder about the sudden retreat of this once ubiquitous screen siren. Her gradual disappearance from the public eye in the late 1980s and 1990s was a source of curiosity and speculation. Following her success in The Spy Who Loved Me and a string of other films, Barbara's acting career slowed down. This shift was not due to a lack of talent or opportunities, but rather a conscious choice. She began to prioritize her personal life over her career, focusing on her family and her marriage to Ringo Star. This decision was a stark contrast to the typical Hollywood narrative, where careers often take precedence over personal life. Barbara's retreat from the limelight was also influenced by her desire for a more normal life, away from the constant scrutiny and pressure of fame. She and Ringo sought a quieter existence, one that allowed them to focus on their relationship and personal growth. This period saw Barbara stepping away from acting and public appearances, choosing instead to live a life away from the cameras. The lack of public information and her absence from the entertainment industry fueled rumors and speculation. Some speculated about possible career troubles or personal issues, while others wondered if she had left the industry for good. However, the truth was far less sensational. Barbara was simply taking a step back to focus on what mattered most to her, her family and personal well-being. During this time, Barbara also explored other interests and passions. She became involved in various charitable endeavors, particularly those related to addiction recovery and mental health, drawing on her and Ringo's experiences. This work, though less publicized, was a significant part of her life during this period. The mystery of Barbara Bach's retreat from Hollywood is not a tale of downfall or disappearance, but a story of choice and prioritization. It reflects a decision to value personal fulfillment over public acclaim, a choice that is both rare and commendable in the celebrity world. Barbara's life during this period may have been less visible to the public, but it was no less meaningful or impactful, marked by personal growth, family, and a commitment to causes close to her heart. Rumors and realities. The untold stories. Barbara Bach's withdrawal from the public eye led to a proliferation of rumors and conjecture about her life and career. In the absence of concrete information, the media and public often filled the gaps with speculation, some of which strayed far from the truth. One persistent rumor was that Barbara's marriage to Ringo Starr was in trouble, a speculation fueled by the couple's retreat from the public eye. However, contrary to these rumors, their relationship remained strong and supportive. Their decision to step back from the limelight was a mutual one, aimed at focusing on their personal lives and health, particularly in the wake of Ringo's struggles with addiction. Another area of speculation centered around Barbara's career. Some suggested that she had been unable to find work after her stint as a Bond girl, a claim that overlooks the reality of her deliberate choice to reduce her acting commitments. Barbara had opportunities to continue her career in film, but chose to prioritize other aspects of her life. There were also rumors about Barbara's health, with some speculating that she had stepped away from the public eye due to illness. These rumors were unfounded and did not reflect the reality of her situation. Barbara was, in fact, focusing on her well-being in a broader sense, including her mental and emotional health, which was a far cry from the health scares rumored in the press. The speculation about Barbara's life during this period highlights the challenges faced by public figures when they choose to live a more private life. The lack of information can lead to a narrative controlled by rumor and speculation rather than facts. For Barbara, this meant dealing with untrue stories and misconceptions about her life and choices. However, despite these challenges, Barbara remained steadfast in her decision to live life on her terms. She and Ringo maintained a strong, supportive relationship, far from the troubled marriage depicted in the tabloids. Her career choices were made with a clear understanding of her priorities and values, not out of necessity or lack of opportunity. She navigated the complexities of fame and public perception with grace, making choices that were right for her regardless of public opinion or speculation. Her story during these years is one of resilience and self-determination, a narrative that goes beyond the rumors and reveals the reality of a life lived with intention and purpose. A Quiet Crusade, Bach's unseen advocacy. While Barbara Bach's retreat from the Hollywood spotlight led to various speculations, it also marked a period where she dedicated herself to quieter yet impactful advocacy work. Away from the glare of the cameras, Barbara engaged in philanthropic efforts, particularly focusing on issues close to her heart, such as addiction recovery and mental health. Barbara's personal experiences, especially witnessing Ringo Starr's battle with alcoholism and their joint journey towards sobriety, deeply influenced her advocacy work. She understood the challenges and stigmas associated with addiction and mental health issues, which fueled her commitment to helping others facing similar struggles. One of the key areas of her advocacy was supporting organizations and initiatives that provided help and resources for those battling addiction. She often worked behind the scenes, lending her support in ways that didn't seek public acknowledgement or fame. This approach was reflective of her desire to make a genuine difference rather than garner publicity. Barbara also became involved in mental health initiatives, recognizing the interconnection between mental well-being and addiction recovery. Her work in this field was marked by a compassionate understanding of the complexities of mental health issues, and she advocated for greater awareness and support for those affected. Her philanthropic efforts extended beyond addiction and mental health. Barbara supported various charitable causes, contributing her time and resources to make a positive impact. This aspect of her life, though less known to the public, was a significant part of her identity during this period. Barbara Bach's advocacy work is a crucial part of her story, showcasing a different side of the former actress and model. It reveals her depth, compassion, and commitment to making a difference in the lives of others. Her quiet crusade in the realms of addiction recovery and mental health, along with her broader philanthropic efforts, highlight her as a figure of substance and empathy, qualities that often remained overshadowed by her celebrity status. The Legacy of a Bond Girl, revisiting Barbara Bach. Barbara Bach's legacy in the entertainment industry is inextricably linked to her iconic role as Anya Amasova in The Spy Who Loved Me. While her career encompassed more than this single role, it is this portrayal that has left an indelible mark on Hollywood and the James Bond franchise. Anya Amasova, or Agent XXX, was a groundbreaking character for the Bond series. Barbara's portrayal brought a new dimension to the typical Bond girl. She was not just a love interest or a damsel in distress, but a competent, strong, and independent agent in her own right. This role challenged the traditional narrative and paved the way for more complex and empowered female characters in future Bond films. Barbara's performance as Anya Amasova was both celebrated and critiqued at the time. While some praised her for bringing depth and strength to the character, others were critical of the Bond girl archetype itself, viewing it as a symbol of the objectification of women in cinema. However, Barbara's portrayal stood out for its balance of intelligence, physical prowess, and sensuality, making Anya a memorable and respected character in the Bond universe. Over the years, the perception of Barbara's role in The Spy Who Loved Me has evolved. Today, it is often viewed as a progressive step for its time, with Barbara Bach being credited for infusing the character with a sense of agency and competence rarely seen in previous Bond girls. Beyond her role in the Bond film, Barbara's legacy in Hollywood includes her other film roles and her modeling career. She was part of a generation of actresses who navigated the changing landscape of Hollywood in the 1970s and 1980s, a time when the industry was grappling with evolving narratives around women and their portrayal on screen. In retrospect, Barbara Bach's impact on the film industry extends beyond her on-screen appearances. Her decision to step away from the limelight and focus on her personal life and advocacy work speaks to a broader narrative about the choices and challenges faced by women in Hollywood. It highlights the often difficult balance between professional success and personal fulfillment. Where is Barbara now? Unveiling the present. The question of where is Barbara Bach now resonates with those who remember her as the glamorous Bond girl and the actress who graced the silver screen with her presence. In recent years, Barbara has maintained a low profile, leading many to wonder about her current life and activities. Today, Barbara Bach is far from the Hollywood spotlight, living a life that prioritizes personal fulfillment over public visibility. She continues to share her life with Ringo Star, with their marriage being one of the longest-lasting unions in the entertainment industry. Their relationship, which began amidst the glitz of Hollywood, has evolved into a deep and enduring partnership. Barbara's current life is characterized by a focus on family, personal well-being, and continued involvement in philanthropic causes. She remains dedicated to her advocacy work, particularly in the areas of addiction, recovery, and mental health, drawing on her and Ringo's personal experiences to contribute positively to these causes. While she has stepped away from acting, Barbara's influence and legacy in the film industry remains significant. Her portrayal of Anya Amasova in The Spy Who Loved Me continues to be celebrated as a pivotal moment in the evolution of female characters in the James Bond series and in Hollywood at large. Barbara's decision to lead a more private life has not diminished the public's fascination with her. She occasionally makes appearances at events, often related to her philanthropic work or supporting Ringo in his musical endeavors. These rare public appearances are a reminder of her enduring presence and the interest she still commands. In many ways, Barbara Bach's current life is a testament to her ability to navigate the complexities of fame and personal choice. She has successfully balanced her public persona with a private life that is rich in personal relationships and meaningful work. Her journey from a celebrated actress to a dedicated advocate and private individual offers a unique narrative about the choices and paths available to those in the public eye.
Grace Kelly, fishing an emerald bracelet out of a fish tank while completely nude. It's not a scene from one of her famous films, but a real-life moment that exposed her secret affair. The Princess of Monaco wasn't always royal, and her path to the throne was paved with scandals and secrets. Buckle up as we dive into the juicy details of Grace Kelly's most shocking indiscretion. The rising star. She was born on November 12, 1929 in Philadelphia. The third of 4 children, Grace Patricia Kelly grew up in a wealthy family. Her father, John B. Kelly Sr., was an Olympic gold medalist in rowing, winning 3 gold medals in the 1920 and 1924 Olympics. He later became a successful businessman in the brickmaking industry, amassing a fortune of over $200 million in today's currency. Her mother, Margaret Catherine Major, was the first woman to head the physical education department at the University of Pennsylvania. The Kelly household was strict and achievement-oriented, with Grace often feeling overshadowed by her athletic siblings. At age 12, Grace acted in her first play, Don't Feed the Animals, at the Old Academy Players in East Falls. This early experience sparked her passion for acting. Throughout her teens, she participated in school plays and local theater productions, often taking on challenging roles beyond her years. In 1947, at 18, she moved to New York City to pursue her dreams. She enrolled at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, paying her own tuition by modeling on the side. Her modeling work included appearances in magazines like Cosmopolitan and TV commercials for Old Gold cigarettes and Bayer aspirin. She earned $400 a week from modeling, a substantial sum at the time. During her time at the Academy, Grace studied under renowned acting coach Sanford Meisner, who helped shape her naturalistic acting style. She also took dance lessons and worked on perfecting her diction, determined to lose her Philadelphia accent. Her first big break came in 1949 when she debuted on Broadway in The Father by August Strindberg. Though the play ran for only 69 performances, it caught the attention of Hollywood producers. Critics praised her luminous quality, foreshadowing her future screen presence. In 1951, she made her film debut in 14 Hours, playing a small role as Louise Ann Fuller. The part lasted only 2 minutes on screen, but it was enough to get her noticed. Director Henry Hathaway later said, "There was something very special about her. She was graceful, gracious, and projected an inner calm." Her breakthrough came in 1952 when she starred opposite Gary Cooper in High Noon. The film was a massive success, winning 4 Academy Awards. Grace's performance as Amy Fowler Kane earned her critical acclaim and opened doors in Hollywood. The New York Times praised her bravely gallant and strong performance, highlighting her ability to hold her own against the veteran Cooper. During this time, she dated several high-profile men, including Clark Gable and Ray Milland. However, she kept her personal life private, cultivating an image of elegance and sophistication. She was often seen at the Stork Club, a popular celebrity haunt, but always maintained a dignified presence. In a rare interview from that period, Grace said, "I think it's because I was brought up believing it was graceless to talk about yourself and immodest to call attention to yourself." This reticence only added to her mystique and appeal. By 1953, at just 24 years old, Grace had become one of Hollywood's most sought-after actresses. She signed a 7-year contract with MGM, worth $750 per week with built-in raises. The American Academy Romance. In 1947, Grace Kelly began her studies at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. The prestigious school, founded in 1884, had already produced stars like Spencer Tracy and Lauren Bacall. During her time at the Academy, she met Don Richardson, a 30-year-old instructor. Richardson, married but separated, taught acting and directed student productions. Despite their 12-year age gap, the two quickly developed a close relationship. Grace excelled in her studies, earning praise from instructors and fellow students alike. In her second year, she played the lead in the Academy's production of The Philadelphia Story, a role that would later become iconic in her film career. Richardson, impressed by her talent and beauty, began to mentor her closely. Their relationship soon turned romantic, though they kept it discreet due to the school's policies and Richardson's marital status. In a later interview, Richardson recalled, "Grace was not the naive, sheltered girl many thought. She was a determined young woman who knew what she wanted." Her time at the Academy was marked by hard work and ambition. She took on various jobs to support herself, including modeling for the Walter Thornton Agency and working as a photographer's assistant. The relationship with Richardson continued to deepen, becoming a significant part of her early adult life. It was her first serious romance, and it would later play a crucial role in shaping her approach to relationships. By the time Grace graduated from the Academy in 1949, she had not only honed her acting skills, but also experienced her first taste of the complex romantic entanglements that would later define her personal life. Family disapproval. In 1950, Grace Kelly brought Don Richardson home to Philadelphia to meet her family. The Kellys, a prominent Irish Catholic household, lived in a stately brick mansion in the East Falls neighborhood. Her father, Jack Kelly, was a self-made millionaire and former Olympic rower. Her mother, Margaret, was a former model and swimming instructor. The family, including 3 siblings, adhered to strict Catholic values. The meeting was tense from the start. Jack Kelly, known for his blunt manner, immediately took issue with Richardson. He was 12 years older than Grace, still legally married and Jewish. All red flags for the conservative Kellys. During dinner, Jack Kelly reportedly asked Richardson pointed questions about his background and intentions. Her mother, Margaret, remained politely distant throughout the evening. Grace's older sister, Peggy, later recalled, "Father was furious. He couldn't believe she would bring home someone so unsuitable." The family's disapproval was clear. Jack Kelly allegedly told her, "No daughter of mine will be involved with a divorced man, let alone a Jew." This rejection deeply upset Grace, who had hoped her family would see beyond their prejudices. She stood by Richardson, causing a rift with her parents that would take months to heal. Despite the family's objections, she continued her relationship with Richardson in New York. She balanced her budding acting career with her romance, often sneaking away from auditions to meet him. The conflict with her family over Richardson marked one of the first times Grace openly defied her parents' wishes. It showcased her independence and willingness to follow her heart, traits that would define her throughout her life. This period of tension lasted several months, during which she had limited contact with her family. She threw herself into her work, landing small roles in television and theater productions. Grace's other suitors. As Grace Kelly's star rose in Hollywood, so did her list of admirers. Between 1951 and 1955, she was linked to several high-profile men, each adding to her growing reputation as a desirable leading lady. One of her early romances was with the debonair Oleg Cassini, a fashion designer who dressed Hollywood's elite. Cassini, 15 years her senior, proposed marriage in 1954. She accepted but later broke off the engagement, citing family pressure. In 1953, during the filming of Mogambo, she had a brief affair with Clark Gable. Gable, then 52, was captivated by the 24-year-old actress. Their on-set romance was an open secret, with co-star Ava Gardner later quipping, "Grace was the only woman I ever knew who slept with her makeup on." Another notable suitor was Claudius Charles Philippe, the charismatic banquet manager of the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. Philippe, known for his connections in high society, courted Grace with extravagant gestures and introduced her to New York's elite social circles. Perhaps the most intriguing of her paramours was Ali Khan, a wealthy playboy and son of the Aga Khan III. Khan, fresh from his divorce from Rita Hayworth, pursued Grace relentlessly. Their affair was discreet but intense, with Khan showering her with expensive gifts. During this period, she also dated Ray Milland, her co-star in Dial M for Murder. Their relationship caused a scandal as Milland was married at the time. Her dating life became fodder for gossip columns. Hedda Hopper, a famous Hollywood columnist, once wrote, "Grace Kelly's romances are as varied as her film roles. One wonders which will lead to a lasting performance." Despite the attention on her love life, Grace maintained a public image of sophistication and discretion. She rarely commented on her relationships, once telling a reporter, "A woman's private life should remain private." In late 1951, Grace Kelly received a stunning emerald bracelet. The piece was exquisite, a gold band studded with large, vivid green emeralds. Its value was estimated at over $5,000, a small fortune at the time. The bracelet's origin became a subject of speculation. Many believed it was a gift from Ali Khan, known for his lavish presents to lovers. Khan had a habit of giving similar jewelry to his paramours, often recycling designs. Grace wore the bracelet sparingly, aware of its potential to spark gossip. She was seen with it at a few Hollywood parties, always deflecting questions about its provenance. During a fitting for High Noon in 1952, costume designer Edith Head noticed the bracelet. Head later recalled, "It was too opulent for a young actress's salary. I knew it must have come from an admirer." The bracelet became a secret symbol of her hidden romantic life. She kept it in a locked jewelry box in her apartment, away from prying eyes. In March 1952, Grace attended a charity gala wearing the bracelet. Gossip columnist Luella Parsons noted in her column, "Miss Kelly's new emerald bracelet caused quite a stir. One wonders who the generous benefactor might be." The jeweler who created the bracelet, wishing to remain anonymous, described it years later. "It was a custom piece designed to catch the light. Whoever commissioned it wanted to make a statement." Grace's close friend, actress Rita Gam, once asked about the bracelet. Grace reportedly smiled and said, "A lady never tells, darling." The fateful evening. On a crisp autumn evening in 1952, Grace Kelly invited Don Richardson to her New York apartment. She had just finished filming Mogambo and was back in the city for a brief stay. The apartment, located on East 66th Street, was a small but elegantly furnished one-bedroom. She had decorated it herself, mixing antiques with modern pieces. Richardson arrived around 8 p.m., bringing a bottle of champagne to celebrate Grace's recent success. The couple had been seeing each other less frequently due to her busy filming schedule. Grace greeted him wearing a simple black dress, her hair loose around her shoulders. What caught Richardson's eye, however, was the emerald bracelet glinting on her wrist. The evening began pleasantly. They shared a light dinner Grace had prepared, a salad and cold chicken, a recipe she'd learned from her mother. After dinner, they moved to the small living room. She put on a record, Frank Sinatra's "I've Got You Under My Skin," and poured more champagne. As they talked, Grace seemed distracted, frequently touching the emerald bracelet. Richardson later recalled, she kept fiddling with it, almost nervously. Around 10 p.m., she excused herself to change. When she returned, she was wearing nothing but the emerald bracelet. This bold move was uncharacteristic of the usually reserved Grace. The confrontation. Richardson, who had been in a relationship with Kelly for several months, noticed a distinctive emerald bracelet she was wearing. He recognized it as similar to one he had seen on another woman at a party. That woman had mentioned it was a gift from Ali Khan, a well-known playboy and international socialite. When Richardson questioned Kelly about the bracelet's origin, she was unable to provide a satisfactory explanation. This led to a heated discussion about their relationship and Kelly's involvement with other men, particularly Ali Khan. The confrontation resulted in the end of Kelly and Richardson's relationship. Richardson, feeling betrayed, broke things off with Kelly. Grace's primary concern following the breakup was likely protecting her public image and burgeoning career. As a rising star in Hollywood, she was acutely aware of the potential damage that personal scandals could cause. In the days and weeks following the incident, Grace continued her work in Hollywood without any public hint of personal turmoil. She maintained her carefully cultivated image of elegance and purity, which was crucial to her appeal as an actress. The bracelet incident, while significant in her personal life, did not impact her professional trajectory. Grace's career continued to flourish, suggesting that she was adept at separating her private affairs from her public persona. Hollywood ascent. In the wake of the bracelet incident, Grace Kelly threw herself into her work. 1953 saw her star rise meteorically in Hollywood, transforming her from a promising newcomer to a bona fide A-list celebrity. Her performance in Mogambo alongside Clark Gable and Ava Gardner earned her first Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. The film, directed by John Ford, was a romantic adventure set in Africa. It grossed over $8 million at the box office, a substantial sum for the time. On set, director John Ford praised Grace's professionalism. "She's always prepared, always on time," he told reporters. A director's dream. Ford, known for his gruff demeanor, rarely gave such effusive praise, making his words all the more impactful in Hollywood circles. In rapid succession, she appeared in 5 films in 1954, an incredible feat that demonstrated her work ethic and versatility as an actress. Dial M for Murder, directed by Alfred Hitchcock, was her first collaboration with the master of suspense. The Thriller, in which she played a woman marked for murder by her husband, made $2.7 million domestically. Hitchcock was impressed by Grace's ability to project vulnerability and strength simultaneously. Rear Window, another Hitchcock classic, followed. Her chemistry with James Stewart was palpable, and the film earned $5.3 million at the box office. Her character, Lisa Fremont, became a fashion icon, with women across America clamoring to emulate her elegant style. Edith Head, the costume designer, said, "Never have I worked with someone who knew so instinctively what worked for her on screen." The country girl proved to be Grace's defining role. Playing against type as Georgie Elgin, the dowdy wife of an alcoholic, she stunned critics and audiences alike. To prepare for the role, she spent time observing the wives of alcoholics in support groups, bringing a raw authenticity to her performance. Variety praised her eloquent portrayal, calling it a tour de force. The film grossed $6.5 million, impressive for a dramatic piece without action or adventure elements. On March 30th, 1955, she won the Academy Award for Best Actress for The Country Girl. At 25, she was one of the youngest winners in that category. The ceremony, held at the RKO Pantages Theater in Hollywood, was a star-studded affair. She beat out stiff competition, including Judy Garland, who many had considered the favorite for A Star is Born. In her acceptance speech, Grace said, "The thrill of this moment keeps me from saying what I really feel." The audience gave her a standing ovation that lasted nearly a full minute. Behind the scenes, she worked tirelessly. She often spent 14-hour days on set, followed by hours memorizing lines for her next role. She was known to arrive on set before dawn, often beating the crew to prepare for her scenes. By the end of 1955, Grace had become one of Hollywood's highest-paid actresses, commanding $100,000 per film. This put her in the same league as established stars like Marilyn Monroe and Elizabeth Taylor. She had also successfully buried any whispers of scandal, her public image untarnished by her private affairs. In just 3 years, she had gone from a relative unknown to an Oscar-winning superstar, setting the stage for what many expected to be a long and illustrious career in cinema. The Hitchcock years and royal destiny. In 1955, Grace Kelly's collaboration with Alfred Hitchcock reached its peak with To Catch a Thief. Filmed on the French Riviera, it grossed $8.75 million worldwide. The film's success was due in large part to the chemistry between Grace and her co-star, Cary Grant. Hitchcock utilized the stunning locations and her elegance to create a visually sumptuous film that audiences flocked to see. Hitchcock praised Grace's acting, saying, "She's the only actress I've worked with who has a complete understanding of the frame." This high praise from the notoriously perfectionist director spoke volumes about her technical skill and screen presence. Hitchcock would later admit that Grace was his favorite actress to work with, citing her intelligence and ability to take direction. During the Cannes Film Festival in May 1955, Grace met Prince Rainier III of Monaco. The meeting, arranged by Olivia de Havilland, lasted only 15 minutes, but would change the course of her life. She was in Cannes to promote To Catch a Thief and represent the U.S. delegation at the festival. The brief encounter with Rainier was initially seen as nothing more than a photo opportunity. In December, Rainier visited the U.S. on a tour to bolster American support for his small principality. He reconnected with Grace in Philadelphia, where he was a guest at the Kelly family home. After just 3 days, Rainier proposed to her with a Cartier engagement ring featuring a 10.47-carat emerald-cut diamond. The whirlwind romance caught the public's imagination, with newspapers dubbing it a real-life fairy tale. MGM, seeing a publicity opportunity, agreed to pay the $2 million dowry demanded by Monaco. They also negotiated to film the wedding, resulting in the documentary The Wedding in Monaco. This savvy move by the studio turned what could have been a loss, Grace leaving acting, into a publicity coup. Her last film, High Society, wrapped in January 1956. A musical remake of The Philadelphia Story, it co-starred Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra. The film would gross $13 million, becoming her highest-grossing picture. It was a bittersweet experience for her, knowing it would be her final Hollywood role. On April 18, 1956, Grace Kelly married Prince Rainier in a lavish ceremony watched by an estimated 30 million television viewers. The event was dubbed the Wedding of the Century by the press. Monaco declared a national holiday, and the celebration lasted for 2 days. The wedding required 2 ceremonies, a civil ceremony on April 18th and a religious one on April 19th. Grace's wedding dress, designed by Helen Rose of MGM, used 25 yards of silk taffeta and 100 yards of silk net. The dress took 30 seamstresses 6 weeks to complete and has since inspired countless bridal gowns, including that of Kate Middleton. After the wedding, Grace retired from acting at age 26. She had made only 11 films in her 7-year career, but her impact on cinema was undeniable. Her decision to leave Hollywood at the height of her fame was shocking to many, with some predicting she would eventually return to acting. In her final press conference as an actress, she stated, "I'm not leaving Hollywood. I'm simply going to a new kind of acting." This cryptic statement left the door open for speculation about her future involvement in the arts. As Princess of Monaco, she focused on charity work and cultural initiatives. She established the Princess Grace Foundation to support local artisans and artists. Grace also worked to modernize Monaco's constitution and economy, helping to transform the principality from a sleepy tax haven to a modern state. Despite her new role, Grace never completely left the world of entertainment. She narrated documentary films, gave poetry readings, and even considered a return to acting in 1977 for Hitchcock's The Short Night. However, public opinion in Monaco against their princess returning to acting ultimately led her to decline the role. She was one of the queens of classic Hollywood and received several awards and nominations during her peak. Known for her incredible talent and ageless beauty and grace, Sybil Shepherd has made quite a name for herself. But behind the dazzling smile and the star-studded career lies a secret, a truth she's kept hidden from the flashing lights of the cameras and the prying eyes of the public. What could a celebrity of her stature possibly want to keep under wraps? The answer lies in a series of events, choices, and moments that paint a picture very different from the one we see on the silver screen. From peak fame to personal battles, Shepherd's story is more than just tabloid fodder. It's a saga that questions the very nature of celebrity privacy. Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear is something Sybil Shepherd doesn't want you to know. She had an affair with a married man. Earlier on in her life, Sybil met a man named Peter Bogdanovich. He was a director, producer, and an asset in the Hollywood industry, but somehow the unlikely couple fell in love and had an affair, even when Peter was married with 2 children. But that's not all. According to a Juicy People article from May 1974, Bogdanovich made quite the exit from his previous life with his wife, Patty Platt, and their 2 kids, all in the name of love for Shepherd. At the time of this cinematic love affair, they were living the high life in a lavish Bel Air mansion, the kind dreams are made of. But let's rewind to the awkward beginnings of this Hollywood romance. How exactly did it start? Well, Bogdanovich, in his recollection, paints a vivid picture of their first encounter. Shepherd was perched on the floor, seeming a bit nonchalant. When the director probed about her activities, she casually dropped the bomb that she was in college and had a soft spot for reading. But here's where it gets interesting. Dostoevsky, the heavyweight of Russian literature, was Shepard's proclaimed favorite author. Yet when Bogdanovich dug deeper and asked which specific book stole her heart, Shepard stumbled in her response. Red flags, right? But Bogdanovich, ever the perceptive storyteller, sensed a casually destructive quality about her. Despite the enigmatic aura, Shepard found her way into his film, and their connection started brewing like a Hollywood plot twist. Despite their apparent bliss, the duo waved off any notions of marriage. When he was asked about their relationship and why he's not deciding to marry Sybil, Bogdanovich, with a dash of dismissiveness, said, "That is a chilling thought. Does she look like Mrs. Bogdanovich?" While this came off as an innocent remark, some say it was an indirect insult to Sybil, as it suggested that she was only good enough to be a mistress, never a wife. She couldn't marry right. Sybil Shepherd's journey down the aisle has been a bit of a roller coaster, marked by several marriages that captured the public's attention. Let's take a stroll down the matrimonial memory lane. It all started in a Memphis nightclub where Sybil Shepherd and David Ford's worlds collided in a whirlwind of music and attraction. They were like magnets, drawn together from the get-go. Ford, a guide into the enchanting realm of blues music, sparked a fire in Shepherd's heart for the stage. As their love story unfolded, so did Shepard's newfound passion for performing. However, every love story has its plot twists. In a candid chat with The Guardian, Shepard dropped a bombshell, revealing that her bluesy love journey hit a sour note. According to her, Ford Strayed, betraying the trust she had invested in their relationship. The couple called it quits in 1982. The reason for their divorce? Well, they cited irreconcilable differences, and as you can imagine, the divorce wasn't a walk in the park for Sybil. Fast forward to the divorce drama, and the dollars started flowing, $15,000 to be precise, landing in Ford's pocket as part of the settlement. Meanwhile, Shepard clutched the reins of motherhood, securing custody of their daughter. It was a bittersweet finale to a chapter that started with harmonious melodies, but ended on a dissonant chord. In the aftermath, Shepard didn't hold back in interviews. Speaking to the Washington Post, she painted a vivid picture of her ex, suggesting that Ford lacked seriousness and passion for pretty much everything. It was a tale of love, loss, and a splash of bluesy betrayal that left Shepard singing a new tune as she ventured into the next chapter of her life. She was in emotional ruin because somewhere in her heart she had thought David was the one, and she once loved him with all of her heart. As a matter of fact, the couple had a child together, a beautiful girl named Clementine. Sybil saw no end to this new misery she had plunged herself into. The end of any marriage is no easy ordeal for anyone, but she later found the courage to open up about the pain and heartbreak, and the reactions she got from the public both soothed and confused her at the same time. On one hand, some sympathized with the star's personal struggles, showing love and support any way they could, but on the other hand, some others gobbled up the gossip columns, spreading as many rumors as they could about why the marriage ended. But even beyond all of these, anyone would think that Sybil's career would suffer. However, the divorce didn't spell doom for her career. If anything, it added a layer of relatability to her public persona, showcasing the real person behind the Hollywood glamour. Although, in the end, some argue that her career seemed to skyrocket and maybe marry, and this time, stay with the person forever. Little did she know that soon enough her wish would come true, or will it? Just about 5 years later, Sybil found love again, and she eventually tied the knot with Bruce Oppenheim, a successful chiropractor. For the first time in a long time, Sybil felt butterflies again and felt what it was like to be loved for who she was. This time, she was sure she had corrected her mistake with her ex-husband and had found the perfect man. Sadly, fate had other plans, as just 3 years later, in 1990, the couple got divorced, giving their beautiful one-year-old twins, Ariel and Zachariah, a broken home. Once more, the public got a front-row seat to the ups and downs of a celebrity marriage. This time around, the media buzz was a bit more frenzied, perhaps fueled by the high-profile nature of both parties. The marriage was the second for both Sybil and Bruce, so it got more attention. However, Sybil weathered the storm with resilience. She felt horrible about it, and the fact that she had had two husbands in less than a decade bothered her. Some reports say that she began to feel unworthy of love and tried to distract herself with her career. But unfortunately, it was a lot harder this time because Bruce seemed to be more upset about the divorce than she was, and as a result, he appeared to shut her off completely, leaving her to raise their kids alone and balance a thriving career at the same time. When talking about her pain, Sybil said, "I'm hoping that at some point I'll be able to talk to him and he'll be able to get over his anger about the divorce to be able to talk about what's best for the children." The public's opinion this time was less than friendly compared to the last time. The perception of Sybil began to morph into one that painted her as a problematic and difficult woman to love and live with as a result of the multiple divorces she has been through. However, Sybil decided that this time she was not going to jump into another relationship. This time she would take things slow and be absolutely sure before she ever got married again. As a matter of fact, she even began to consider never getting married again. This was her mindset until 9 years later, in the year 1999, love got a hold of her, and this time with a man named Andrei Nikolaevich. The taxi driver sensation hit the world with a love bomb by announcing her engagement to Andrei Nikolaevich, a former jeweler who's now rocking the title of psychologist. In a Broadway-worthy reveal to the New York Daily News, the actress spilled the beans while basking in the limelight of her role in The Best Man. With a twinkle in her eye, she exclaimed, "I'm engaged!" And if that wasn't enough to set the town buzzing, she dropped the interesting twist on her fiancé's impressive career switch. He used to be a jeweler, but he made a transition and became a psychologist. Nikolaevich is clearly a man of diverse talents. In a plot twist no one saw coming, Shepard confessed, "I never thought I'd get married again." But love, as they say, has its own script, and Shepard and Nikolaevich are about to embark on a new chapter of their love story. However, the ghost of her past keeps haunting her through the media as she married the wrong man twice before and has grown-up children to prove it who do not have a present father. It is a mistake she made, and she would sadly pay for the rest of her life. She struggled with weight and body image. In the raw and unfiltered pages of Sybil Disobedience, Sybil Shepard lays bare the intricate trajectory of her life, revealing a landscape marked by personal struggles, the kind that most often remains concealed beneath the glittering surface of the entertainment industry. Weight and body image become focal points in Shepard's narrative, unraveling a deeply personal battle that transcends the superficiality of Hollywood standards. In a culture obsessed with appearances, Shepard confronts the demons that lurk in the shadows of fame. The book becomes a mirror reflecting the harsh scrutiny she faced, the whispers that echoed in the corridors of showbiz, and the relentless pressure to conform to an unrealistic ideal. The chapters on body image don't romanticize the struggle. Instead, Shepard paints a vivid picture of the challenges she faced, of feeling scrutinized and judged, of navigating a world that often measured her worth by external standards. She suffered sexual harassment. A little into her career, Sybil Shepard stepped into the spotlight to share some terrible and difficult news, shedding light on her unsettling encounter with the once mighty studio head, Leslie Moonves. On The Michelle Collins Show, Shepard peeled back the layers of an industry rife with power dynamics and exposed the personal toll it took on her career. The actress disclosed a disturbing incident during a dinner with Moonves, where the conversation took an uncomfortably intimate turn. Moonves, a figure wielding significant influence, allegedly propositioned Shepard for inappropriate intimate relations, revealing intimate details about his personal life in the process. Shepard, the star of her own popular series at the time, recounts Moonves expressing dissatisfaction with his wife and a mistress, leading to the inappropriate suggestion of taking her home. With a steely resolve, Shepard declined the advances and insisted that she would take her own car home when he requested to drop her off. She had her own car parked outside, safeguarded by an off-duty LAPD officer. But little did she know that the director didn't take kindly to her rejection. Shepard's show, which had been riding the waves of popularity, faced an abrupt cancellation. The actress connects the dots, attributing the sudden downfall of her series to her rejection of Moonves' advances. It was then that she voiced out, but her allegation that placed her among a growing chorus of women accusing the studio head of using his power to silence those who rebuffed his advances. She was not alone. Leslie Moonves found himself at the epicenter of a storm, facing allegations of inappropriate misconduct that have reverberated throughout the industry. The cascade of accusations against him has prompted a wider investigation into a potential culture of misconduct at CBS, underscoring the broader implications of such behavior within powerful institutions. She dated Elvis Presley. In a throwback that takes us deep into the annals of Hollywood history, Sybil Shepherd, the luminary of the 70s silver screen, peels back the layers of time to reveal a chapter from her past, one intertwined with the king of rock and roll himself, Elvis Presley. She was only a budding actress at the time, catapulted to stardom with breakthrough roles in iconic films like The Last Picture Show and The Heartbreak Kid. At just 22, Sybil Shepherd's star was on the rise, and it caught the attention of none other than the legendary Elvis Presley. When the news reached the king that Sybil was in Memphis, he couldn't resist the opportunity to meet her. Their encounter, steeped in the heady mix of fame and allure, led to a romance that left an indelible mark on Sybil's memories. She's been candid about their liaison, not shying away from the intimate details. In an interview, she dropped a bombshell about having taught Elvis one major thing in the area of intimacy, a revelation that sent shockwaves through the echoes of their past. But also, looking back, she felt embarrassed about telling the world something so personal. Yet, like many tales of passion, theirs was not destined to be an enduring saga. The romance that sparked like wildfire dimmed all too soon, overshadowed by the struggles that haunted the king, prescription drug habits that became a chasm between them. Sybil, despite being captivated by the most beautiful man she had ever seen, found herself on a divergent path, one free from the allure of substances. The bedroom where passion and complications collided became a stage for a fleeting love story. Sybil reminisces about Elvis, a man who would enter the room in moments of vulnerability, leaving behind not just his presence but also tokens of affection, drugs, and dazzling emerald and diamond jewelry. It was a relationship painted with contrasts, where the intensity of beauty and fame clashed with the shadows of personal struggles. Financial insecurity. In the roller coaster ride of life, even Hollywood stars like Sybil Shepherd find themselves navigating stormy financial seas. The late 1990s was a time when the world was dialing up the internet on chunky computers, and Sybil was facing a financial tempest. Money, usually a silent backdrop in the world of fame, took center stage. The whispers of financial challenges grew louder, echoing through the glamorous corridors of Hollywood. It was during this tumultuous period that Sybil Shepherd found herself at a crossroads, a junction where she had to confront the harsh reality of financial turmoil. In a move that many would consider a last resort, she made the difficult decision to file for bankruptcy. This wasn't just a blip on the financial radar, it was a seismic event that shook the foundations of her economic stability. Bankruptcy was a word loaded with stigma, and it became a chapter in Sybil's life story, one that demanded not just financial resilience, but emotional strength. Sybil and Bruce Willis's drama. Let's rewind to the set of Moonlighting in the 80s. A time when the TV screens were graced by the chemistry of Sybil Shepherd and Bruce Willis. Amidst the on-screen banter and detective escapades, there brewed a different kind of drama behind the scenes. Reports surfaced not of the harmonious collaboration we often imagine, but of tension that hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. The The working relationship between Sybil Shepherd and her co-star Bruce Willis was far from smooth sailing. It was a tale of on-set discord, a feud that simmered beneath the surface of their on-screen camaraderie. As the cameras rolled, capturing the witty exchanges and crime-solving antics, off-camera whispers spoke of a challenging dynamic. The specifics of the feud remained elusive, confined to the closed doors of the set. Yet the tension became an unspoken undercurrent, a palpable energy that altered the narrative of what viewers witnessed on screen. In the real-world script of Moonlighting, the clash between Shepherd and Willis added an unexpected layer of complexity. It wasn't the seamless partnership often portrayed in the entertainment world. Instead, it was a glimpse into the reality that not all co-star relationships are built on camaraderie. The feud was a narrative that, while not stealing the limelight from the show's success, added a certain tension to the backstage drama. In the end, the reports of the feud became a footnote in the history of Moonlighting, a behind-the-scenes saga that colored the era when Shepherd and Willis shared the small screen. It's a reminder that the magic of television doesn't always translate into a harmonious off-screen partnership, and sometimes the tension backstage becomes its own kind of drama, hidden in the shadows of Hollywood's bright lights. Projects that basically failed. One notable project that faced the scrutiny of public reception was the film Daisy Miller in 1974, directed by Peter Bogdanovich. Despite the cinematic pedigree of both Shepherd and Bogdanovich, the film encountered a lukewarm response from critics. The adaptation of Henry James's novel was met with mixed reviews, and while Shepherd's performance garnered praise for its charm and grace, the overall reception of the film did not set the box office ablaze. The tepid response to Daisy Miller became a note in Shepherd's professional journey. Fast forward to the 90s, and Shepherd found herself at the helm of the sitcom Sybil. The show, which ran from 1995 to 1998, showcased Shepherd's comedic prowess as she portrayed a struggling actress navigating the challenges of Hollywood. While Sybil had its loyal fan base and earned Shepherd a Golden Globe Award, it also faced its share of critical evaluation. Some critics lauded the show for its wit and Shepherd's performance, while others found fault with aspects of the storytelling. The nuanced reception of Sybil added complexity to Shepherd's television legacy. But that wasn't all. The film, Martha, Inc., the story of Martha Stewart in 2003, marked another chapter in Shepherd's career. Portraying the iconic business magnate Martha Stewart, Shepherd faced the challenge of embodying a larger-than-life figure. The project, however, was met with mixed reviews, with critiques directed toward the portrayal of Stewart and the overall execution of the narrative. The intersection of art and public reception once again played a significant role in shaping the narrative of Shepherd's career. These failures and mixed reactions were terrible for her career. In the grand scheme of Hollywood, where every project contributes to the evolving story of an artist, Shepherd's journey is no exception. The critical reception of certain works, be it films like Daisy Miller, TV shows like Sybil, or biopics like Martha, Inc., adds layers to the narrative. Failed music career. In the late 70s, Sybil Shepherd decided to embark on a parallel journey into the world of music, unveiling a dimension of her artistic prowess that extended beyond the silver screen. The year 1979 marked the release of her musical venture, an album titled Vanilla, a departure from the spotlight of Hollywood to the rhythm and melody of the recording studio. Vanilla was a fusion of Shepherd's sultry voice with the musical vibes of the late 70s. The album, a collection of pop and jazz-infused tunes, showcased a different facet of Shepherd's artistic expression. Her vocal stylings, characterized by a smooth and evocative quality, added a layer of complexity to her public persona. However, the reception of Vanilla didn't mirror the resounding success of her acting career. While the album displayed Shepherd's vocal talent, it failed to make significant waves in the music industry. The critical reception was mixed.
with some praising the effort and others finding the foray into music less compelling than her established presence on screen. Despite the commercial and critical challenges, Shepherd's venture into music demonstrated her versatility as an artist. The album may not have soared to the top of the charts, but it served as a testament to her willingness to explore different artistic realms. In the aftermath of Vanilla, Shepherd continued her primary focus on acting, and her music career took a back seat. The album remains a snapshot in time, capturing a moment when Shepherd dared to step into the world of music, bringing her unique voice to a different stage. In hindsight, the music career might not have been a meteoric rise, but it adds a colorful note to the symphony of Shepherd's artistic journey. Either way, Cybill Shepherd may not have been perfect, but she has definitely left her mark in Hollywood.